Hello everyone, this is Enea here, and today I will teach you how to create this cube pattern in Affinity Designer. In this pattern, the faces of the cube have 4 division lines within them, and we are going to create these division lines through the help of the isometric grid. As I explained in my previous tutorials, in order to create a pattern for a pattern field in Affinity Designer, we first need to identify the tile that repeats itself throughout the composition. In this particular pattern, I identified the following tile that I highlighted with the red rectangle. The key to identifying a tile in a pattern is that it must start at the top, where it ends at the bottom, and it must start on the left, where it ends on the right. So this is what we are going to seek to create. And this is what the tile will look like after we have created and exported it. Alright, so to get started, we go to File, New, and we create a new composition. We give it 1000 by 1000 pixels in dimensions. And then we go to the Margin tab, and we uncheck Include Margin, and we click on Create. And then we make sure that Snapping, Snap to Grid, and Snap to Object Bounding boxes are enabled, and we can uncheck Snap to Spread, as it might cause hindrance on this particular pattern. And then we're going to set up the grid. So we go to View, Grid and Axis. We check on Show Grid to make it apparent. And then we go to the Advanced tab. As a grid type, we select Isometric, which is a grid made of rhombuses with the top and the bottom angles at 120 degrees and the left and the right angles at 60 degrees. We are going to decrease the spacing a bit to 25 pixels. And then we can close the grid manager. And then we are going to start to draw the first face of the first cube. So we take the pen tool, we set the fill to none, we leave the stroke as black, and we set the stroke width to 2 points. And then, somewhere in the upper part of the composition, we go ahead and we create a rhombus of 5 grid units by 5 grid units in dimensions. And then we press on Escape to unselect. And then we're going to connect the lines along the grid. So we start here from the first point at the top right. So we position a node here. And then we position another node here at the bottom left, and this creates our first line. And then we press on Escape to unselect. And then we're going to draw the second line. So we start here from the second point at the top right, and we connect it at the second point at the bottom left. And then we press on Escape to unselect. And then we connect the third line along the grid, and we press Escape to unselect. And then we connect the fourth line, and we press Escape to unselect again. So now we have connected all the lines that we need connected in the first face of the first cube. And then we take the Move tool, we press on Ctrl A to select all the elements, and we press on Ctrl G to group them together. And then we're going to duplicate the face of the cube to have the 2 other faces of the cube. So we go here to enable Transform Origin, and we set the rotation center at the bottom extremity of the rhombus. And then we press on Enter to bring out the Move Duplicate panel. We check on Duplicate. We set the number of copies to 2. And the rotation angle to 120 degrees. And we click on OK. So now we have all 3 faces of the cube. We select all 3 of them, and we press on Ctrl G to group them together. And then we press on Ctrl J to duplicate the cube, and we take the duplicated cube and we position it here at the bottom left. And then we select both cubes We press on Ctrl J to duplicate them both, and then we move the duplicated cubes towards the bottom right until they are positioned here. So now we have all the cubes that we need to create the tile. The tile is going to be located from this corner here to this corner here, and we are going to delineate it with the rectangle tool. So we take the rectangle tool, we set the fill and the stroke to none, and then we draw a rectangle from this corner here to this corner here. And then we select the rectangle with the move tool and make sure that it is positioned correctly. And then we're going to export its content. So we go to File, Export. We set the file type to PNG and the area to selection area to export only what's within the cube. And we click on Export. So now that we have exported the tile, we are going to use it to do a pattern fill. So we go to File, New, and we create a new composition. We are going to hide the grid and to reactivate Snap to Spread. And then we take the rectangle tool, we set the fill and the stroke to none, and we draw a rectangle all over the composition. And then we select the rectangle, we take the vector float fill tool, we go to set bitmap fill, and we select the tile that we just created. We click on the composition, and as you can see, this creates a pattern fill with a pattern. And then we can adjust the handles to make the pattern bigger or smaller as we want it. Alright, so that was it for this tutorial. You learned how to create a cube pattern in Affinity Designer. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and learned something from it. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Affinity Designer tutorials in the future. And until then, see you next time. Bye!